Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Town of Morristown Board of Liquor and Tobacco Control meeting to order. It is 5:30, Monday, September 15th, 2025. Do we have any agenda changes or additions?
Recommended addition, just to verbally review upcoming paving.
No. Liquor and tobacco.
Oh, sorry, no.
Okay, thank you. Just wondering how paving got onto this.
Yeah.
So we have minutes from, moving on, minutes from August 18th, 2025.
I move to approve the minutes of August 18th.
So I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Richard, second by Laura. Who's taking notes?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, any discussion regarding the minutes? All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Liquor license applications, we have none. Tobacco license applications, we have none. Special event permits, we have 2. And before we entertain some motions, or a motion, we should do these separately, right? Or can we do them together?
I would do them separately.
Yeah, one's
Okay, do them
alcohol,
separately.
one's...
It's my understanding that Jason, Chief of Police, has no issues with either of these?
Chief Luna has no issues.
Okay, I would entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve Soulmate Brewing Company for an outside consumption limited permit.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So a motion by Laura, second by Richard. Any discussion? This is for Rocktoberfest. Both of these are going to be for Rocktoberfest. Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, North Hardwick Farm LLC. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve North Hardwick Farms LLC for a special event permit as a manufacturer.
Second.
So I have a motion by Laura and a second by Richard. Again, this is for Rocktoberfest as well on September 27th. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
And that would be unanimous as well. The previous one was unanimous also. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So motion by Richard, second by Laura to adjourn. It's 5:33. Any discussion? All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Okay. So we're now out of Board of Liquor and Tobacco Control.
You give me just a
Judy, I'm
moment
gonna-
to catch up to you.
I'm going to wait for you.
Yeah, that would be great.
You're coming.
Give me 1 second. It's printing.
It's, yeah, you can set your clock to that.
No, that's... It's perfect timing though.
Let me just make sure it's working, Dawn.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
It's thinking right now.
Before we start, I'm just waiting for her to get things going. Everything needs to be videotaped.
It's just still thinking.
Or recorded, I should say.
Yeah. There we go. Got it.
Okay. So, welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. It is 5:35. I'm going to call the regular Select Board meeting to order for the town of Morristown. It is again Monday, September 15th, 2025. Additions or changes?
Yes. I just wanted to put someplace on the agenda, a quick discussion of Morristown paving schedule in the upcoming weeks, as well as culvert replacement schedule.
How about if we do it after, between 1 and 2, since we have presenters here tonight?
Sounds good.
Okay, so we'll call that. And that's gonna be paving, culvert, update.
Yes.
Any other changes or additions?
No.
Okay. Okay, community comments. I'll open this up to the floor. I see a couple of hands up on Zoom, but I'm going to, as always, let people in the audience go first. I'll just remind you, 2 minutes. Please address the chair. And I'm saying this because there's some new faces in the room. And please address your comments to items not already on tonight's agenda. Go ahead and identify yourselves.
Hello, I'm Kara Hansey. I'm a resident of Morristown. I'm here today. I'm a resident for 20 years, and I'm also a member of the Ad Hoc Wellness Committee that was formed to support the wellness chapter in the town plan. And I'd like to request the board to create some time on a future agenda to discuss the position of a recreation personnel for the Department of Recreation for the town of Morristown. So hopefully in the future, we can have space to have open discussion and dialogue around that. This town was able to approve a budget with that line item several years ago, and we'd like to have the opportunity to do that again. And I also want to thank the town for all the hard work that was put in for a successful summer program, and I hope that, reviewing that can also be part of a future discussion as far as accomplishments and where to go to next, knowing that the budget time to plan is now. And so I'd like to invite that conversation with the board. I'd also like to read a quick note for someone who couldn't be here. Judy Bickford sent a lovely message. I write to urge the Morristown Selectboard to include the position of Recreation Director in an upcoming budget. With Morristown in the process of applying for a downtown designation, there will be many more opportunities to apply for recreation grants for our community. As you know, recreation encompasses more than sports. Although there may be plenty of sport programs for children through the schools, there are few kinds of programs for kids, especially in the summer, or for post-high school youth or our senior citizens. Having a well-organized, thoughtful, designated recreation program implemented by a trained professional can not only attract new residents to our community, but will also benefit our businesses, will provide opportunities for our residents to participate in community activities, and will make Morristown a designation for having fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Anybody else in the audience? Yeah, come on up. Please identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Joe Gardner, taxpayer and parent of 2 beautiful little kids in our community. I'm gonna make this super short because I have to go home and cook them dinner. But I'm here to also just encourage the town to continue the discussion or have a discussion on a potential rec program or interaction between the youth, not just the youth, but all of us in the community and the town on potential recreation opportunities. So thank you very much. I hope you
Thanks,
enjoy
Joe.
your meeting.
Anybody else? Anybody else in the audience before I go to Zoom? Okay, go ahead. I believe that's Allison.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Hi. I'm sorry I couldn't be in the room. I'm transporting my children between their recreation activities right now. And I just am really glad to have the opportunity to request, as Kara said, that the select board, take this topic of recreation, not only a budget line for recreation coordinator or as personnel, but also a budget line for recreation, and that we discuss this at a future meeting. So to consider that as the ask, but also just a little context. I think it was about 10 years ago, there might be people in the room who remember, and some of us did this together, but there was not a budget for recreation. It had been basically eliminated, and we slowly brought it back over time with the previous rec committee before the coordinator was hired, and over time built up to $5,000, $10,000, put in the My Rec software programming, and then continued by a lot of the lay leadership of the committee, providing some opportunities within town for people of all ages and across different types of recreation, and then building into the position. And that was almost a 10-year process to bring recreation to that level in our town with a coordinator, a paid coordinator, and the potential, regardless of who's in the position, is just so great for all of our residents. And so just wanted to educate some folks on the select board who maybe, and in the room, who just maybe don't know the history of how much work went in. And then all of a sudden last year, with that cut, I think right now we're just wanting to have the conversation again as town residents, and for our own recreation, for those of all people, for our children, and for guests and visitors to our town. It just makes us all stronger. So just wanted to bring a little more information, and hope to hear from select board soon about a potential agenda item. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you very much. Nancy Donovan, I believe that is.
Yes, thanks, Don. I'm a voter here as well as a taxpayer. And I just want to add a little other information. We tried the experiment with a rec coordinator, and she lost $36,000 on that. And it wasn't even accounting for her salary or health care benefits. So I would ask, how are we possibly going to come up with another $100,000 to $120,000 for a record coordinator when our taxes are already so high? Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Anybody, last call in the room or on Zoom for community comments? Okay, not hearing anything. I'm going to move on to approving some minutes. So we have minutes from September 2nd, 2025. Was our regular select board meeting, I believe. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for 9/2/25.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So motion by Laura, second by Richard. Discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes for September 2nd, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. We have minutes of our public hearing from September 3rd, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for September, sorry, wrong page, for the public hearing on 9/3/25.
Second.
So motion by Laura, second by Richard. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of the minutes for the public hearing on September 3rd, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous as well. Finally, we have minutes for the special select board meeting from September 3rd, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the special select board meeting on 9/3/25.
Second.
Motion by Laura, second by Richard. Discussion. Okay, all those in favor of accepting the minutes for, approving the minutes for a special select board meeting of September 3rd, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Be unanimous. Okay, moving on to new business. We have in the room with us a couple of presenters. I believe we have a note taker as well.
We do.
We have Corey Burrell, and we have Laura Stone, and we have Judith. No, you're not Judith. Jim, sorry. Is Judith here? Is she going to be part of the presentation?
I think she was planning to join via Zoom.
Okay.
But if she's here or not, that's okay.
Okay. So this is a scoping report that you've done on the Cadiz Falls Bridge, and I know I said to you before the meeting, I've traveled over it many, many times. I have a feeling there's people in the room that have been over it many, many, many times as well. So I'm going to pass it over to you, and then when you're done the presentation, I'm going to give the board a chance for some questions, and then I'll give the audience a chance for questions as well.
So I do have a PowerPoint presentation with a lot of pictures and information. There are also hard copies that look like it's not printed out. but this is the alternatives presentation meeting for the Katie's Fall Bridge. Bridge 8 it is, over the Lamoille River. Next slide. So with us tonight, I'm the VTrans scoping engineer, project manager. After this project moves into design, Corey Burrell, he will be the design project manager. We also have Gemma Polson here tonight. She's one of our newer scoping engineers, so she's here to take notes. And Judith Ehrlich is our VTrans historic preservation officer, so she's going to assist us and help us get through the permitting process for this project. So, purpose of the meeting, we really just want to provide an understanding of our approach to the project, talk about the project constraints, the existing conditions of the bridge. We really want to gather the town's needs for the project, discuss the alternatives that are being considered, and really at the end of the day here, we want to gain consensus towards a recommended alternative. I also have here provide an opportunity to ask questions and voice concerns. So we are really, really early in the project's product development right now, so this is the perfect time to be bringing up concerns and needs for the town. Over here is a location map. I think everybody's pretty well aware of where the project is located. An aerial view, there's an aerial view right there. It's located between, I think that's Griggs Road and Dummel Road?
Duhamel.
Duhamel, okay.
Duhamel, yeah.
I guess to note, there is a historic building located in the southeast quadrant of the project area. So this is just a timeline of the VTrans project development process, and this slide is really just to show you that we're at a really early stage of project development. A project has been funded, and we're in this project definition phase. So during this phase, we evaluate alternatives, we identify the environmental resources, the cultural resources, the constraints surrounding the project, we have this public participation piece, and ultimately we want to build consensus towards a selected project. After project definition, that's when the project is defined, that's when we're going to move it into design, start quantifying areas of impact, start the permitting process, do the right-of-way process if needed. After design, contract will be awarded, it'll move into construction. So we are really early in the project development phase. So here's a picture looking north over the structure. The roadway is classified as a rural major collector. The bridge is a Pratt steel through truss. It is owned by the town of Morristown, so there is a local share involved in the project. It was constructed in 1928 and rehabilitated in 2016. So it was just about a decade ago that the bridge was rehabilitated. So for the town share, Act 153 of the 2012 legislative session. So prior to 2012, the town share for all town highway bridge projects was 10%. So 80% federally funded, 10% state funded, 10% town funded. So part of Act 153, we said the local share is going to be reduced by 50% if the bridge is rehabilitated instead of replaced. And it can be reduced an additional 50% for closing the road during construction and not constructing a temporary bridge. So you can see the local share options up there, but it ranges from 2.5% to 10%. So existing conditions, we do have utilities in the project area. There's aerial utilities, which involve Morrisville Water and Light, Consolidated Communications, Comcast. There is the hydro power plant on the south side. There's underground utilities, so there's Morrisville Water and Light, transmission power to a substation on the south side. And there are municipal utilities, so there's water facilities that exist within the right-of-way to the north of the bridge. So there's quite a few utilities involved here. I don't think we're going to be able to avoid a utility relocation, so those will have to be relocated for construction. Existing conditions, so the structure has heavy section loss, pitting throughout the steel. The paint system is failing. The deck is cracking, the curb is breaking up in places. The bridge is rated with a 5-ton weight limit, which was reduced in 2017 after that 2016 project. And as most of you are, I'm sure, familiar with, it is extremely narrow. So we have a 9-1 typical section, so that means we have 2 9-foot travel lanes with 1-foot shoulders. So that is quite substandard. So here's the bridge condition ratings. So we rate our structures from 0, which is basically a failed condition, to 9, which is a newly constructed condition. So right now, the deck is rated a 7, that's in good condition. The deck is the portion that you drive over. The superstructure, so that's all the steel elements involved, so those are the trusses on the side as well as the beams underneath. Those are rated a 5, they're in fair condition. And the substructure, so that's the supports on either end of the bridge, those are rated a 6, which we consider to be in satisfactory condition. Here's a picture of the northern abutment. So you can see there's a lot of shallow bedrock there. That becomes important when we get into construction and construction timing, because typically when we have exposed bedrock like that, we do need to do some cast in place concrete, so that could make construction, especially if we're talking a closure of the road during construction, that can extend that a bit. And then on to the southern abutment. Again, we do have some exposed ledge along the southern abutment, but overall satisfactory condition for those substructures. So these next couple pictures, this just gives you an idea of the deterioration that's happened over the last decade. We have a picture from 2014. You can see that there's a gusset plate. It's towards the bottom middle of the page. So this is 2014. Yes, that's it right there. Thank you. If you go on to the next slide, here's a picture from 2018. And you can see that same gusset plate has quite a bit of section loss. And then the next page, that's from 2024, and again, section loss and paint failure. So you can see it has been deteriorating at a pretty fast rate. So in terms of environmental, cultural resources that are in the area, we don't have any environmental issues outside of the norm. We don't have any wetlands, we don't have any rare, threatened, or endangered species. Really, the biggest resource here is on the cultural side. Bridge 8 itself is considered a historic resource, and also the Katy Falls Power Plant is considered a historic resource. So here's a picture of the existing typical section. So that's showing that substandard width. It is 20 feet rail to rail, which for the amount of traffic present is very low. I mean, very, very narrow. So this layout is a bird's eye view. So if you're flying above the bridge, looking down, the bridge is shown in that gray color. The roadway and pavement is shown in that brown color. You'll see the neon green lines there. That is the town-owned right-of-way. So currently, we are very close to that right-of-way with the wing wall and the structure. So it is probably likely that we're going to need some additional temporary rights for the project. I'll also point out, let's see here, so these red lines that you can see throughout, those are aerial utilities. The purple lines are property lines, and then the pink lines that are throughout, that's the historic designated areas. So Dawn was very interested in this. The design criteria and considerations, we have an average daily traffic of about 3,600 vehicles per day. a design hourly volume, so that's in your peak hour of traffic, you would expect to see 619 vehicles in that hour. And truck traffic of 11.2%. So it's a significant amount of traffic that uses that structure. So the alternatives we looked at in the scoping report, they ranged from no action to a full bridge replacement. So we looked at no action, it's not recommended, something really needs to be done here to address the deteriorating condition. Next, we looked at a rehabilitation. A rehabilitation would address the structural deficiencies. We would replace the floor beams and the whole floor system of the truss and do any truss repairs that are needed or strengthening to those trusses on the side. The effects on adjacent properties, historic, archaeological resources are really minimal for a rehabilitation, but you get a reduced design life. So there was just a rehabilitation 10 years ago, and as you know, we're back here. So it does have a reduced design life. Next, we looked at a full bridge replacement with a new truss. So we could accomplish, with a new truss, we could widen it to meet the minimum standard of 28 feet rail to rail. It follows stipulations set by the Division for Historic Preservation. It would be on alignment. Really, we can't move that alignment too much because it is really constrained where it is right now. And all brand new bridges, truss or conventional bridges, we designed to a 75-year design life. Next, we looked at a full bridge replacement with just a conventional steel beam bridge. It would have low maintenance compared to a truss structure. It would be a composite steel deck. Again, we would widen to the minimum standard of 28 feet, and we would design to a 75-year design life. So the next pictures just run through the typical sections and the layouts of each of those options. So alternative one, the truss repair. Again, selected members would be repaired or replaced. We could see if we could increase that load posting that's out there right now. I doubt we could get to an HL 93 or have heavy trucks on that, but we would be able to increase the posting a bit. It would address the structural deficiencies. The biggest downfall of the rehabilitation is that it would remain substandard in width. So it would match that 20-foot width that's out there right now. Again, we would design that to a 40-year design life. The next picture just shows the layout. And that layout is looks exactly like the existing conditions because we would just be rehabilitating in place. So this next option is the new Pratt through truss. So this is a truss. This option would have the trusses on the side and the top like it does now. It would have that portal opening. That's just not, it's not shown very well in this picture. It follows the stipulations set by the Division for Historic Preservation. So by replacing this, but replacing it with a truss, we are maintaining some bit of that historic significance there. We would widen to meet the minimum standard of 28 feet. So that would include two 11-foot travel lanes with 3-foot shoulders on the side. We did reach out to the town, it must have been a year and a half ago. We sent a questionnaire that asked a lot of questions about bicycle traffic, pedestrian traffic, and one of the major input we got back from the town was that bicycle usage is heavy over this bridge. So this would provide bicycles with that 3-foot shoulder. Moving on to the next, so this layout looks very similar to the other one, it's just a wider structure. It would be a similar length, again, you put it back on the existing alignment, but it would be widened. And then alternative 3, so this is the typical section for a new conventional steel beam bridge. So this is a bridge where you just see the bridge railings on the side, but you don't have that truss portal that you're driving through. It is a low maintenance option. We would widen to that minimum standard of 28 feet, and it would have a 75-year design life. And moving on to the layout, very similar to the layout for the truss option, we would be widening it to that 28 feet. So what we recommended ultimately, and this is a structure that's owned by the town, so it is the town's decision on how you want to move forward with the project. But we recommended constructing a new Pratt through truss while maintaining traffic, utilizing a temporary detour. And we'll get to the traffic control options in a minute. It does have safer accommodations for bikes and for pedestrians. It meets the current Vermont state standards, which requires a minimum of 11-foot travel lanes with 3-foot shoulders. It preserves the historical character of the original Pratt through truss, and that's one of the questions we had asked the town on that questionnaire, and the town did seem to want to maintain the historic character of the area. Method of traffic control would close the bridge for a construction season, maintain traffic on an off-site detour. By closing the road to traffic during construction, the local share would be reduced by 50%, so there is quite a bit of a financial benefit to the town. And we would design it to that 75-year design life. So onto the maintenance of traffic options available. We don't force closures on town. There is a financial benefit, but the town doesn't have to close the road. So we looked at an off-site detour and then a temporary bridge. So with the off-site detour option, the detour would be chosen and signed by the town per the MUTCD. We would expect about a construction season duration. Once we know more about, are we putting in a prefabricated truss? Once we know more about the bedrock that's out there, we might be able to shorten that, but right now we're just going to commit to an entire construction season. Shortest detour route is 3.7 miles end to end. And this is the detour route. This is the detour route that was used for that project back in 2016. So this is the graphic that was taken right from that project. During that project, you had signed a local detour route and then a truck detour route. Again, that local detour route has an end-to-end distance of 3.7 miles. So that's if you're going from one side of the bridge, going all the way around the detour to the other end of the bridge. So that's the maximum amount that somebody would travel. Next, we looked at a temporary bridge, so it would be a one-lane temporary bridge constructed downstream of the existing structure. And in the next slide, so that's the location we would place the temporary bridge. That's downstream.
That's downstream, yeah.
Yeah, so north is pointing to the right in all of these pictures.
So it's a one lane?
It would be one lane, signalized based on the volume of traffic. There's a potential we could put in a 2-lane. It's, that could be determined in design if deemed needed. So the alternatives matrix shows a lot of information. I'm not going to go over everything that's in this spreadsheet right now. This really just compares the price for the truss rehabilitation, the full bridge replacement with a truss, and the full bridge replacement with a new conventional bridge. So the truss rehabilitation has total project costs of around $3.3 million, and there would be a town share of 2.5%, which is around $80,000. Alternative 2, the full bridge replacement with a new truss, that has a cost of approximately $5.6 million, with a town share of 5%, which would be $280,000 of a town share. And then the full bridge replacement with a new bridge would be total costs of around 4.7 million with a town share of $230,000 or 5%. Now these costs shown up here, this 80,000 and then 280,000, those are assuming a closure, a road closure with an offsite detour during construction. If the town wants a temporary bridge constructed, you'll double that price. So it'll be around $600,000 of the town share. So the preliminary project schedule, we have this in our budget for 2031. It is quite a ways out. We do have our bridge inspectors that go out there on a regular basis. If the bridge started deteriorating faster, you know, this is a lot of time. This is based on funding constraints right now. So we can have the project designed, ready to go in a few years, but based on funding, this is where we have it in our budget. But we do take into consideration the current condition, and so again, total cost estimate approximately 5.6 million with a town share of approximately 280,000 for the recommended alternative. So next steps, really from here on out, we don't need you to make a decision tonight. You have some time to make a decision. Next steps, we're going to wait for the town on the response to a recommendation on how you would like us to proceed. At that point, we'll start developing conceptual plans. We'll distribute them for comment to the town. If the town's happy with the conceptual plans, that's when we'll process the local finance and maintenance agreements. That's when we'll start the right-of-way process, the permitting process, and there are updates on the project plans and estimates at each plan submittal. So we have conceptual plans, preliminary plans, final plans. At each one of those kind of plan submissions, we distribute plans to the town and get comments back. And before I open it up to questions, I will just mention there's a website at the top of the page here. That website is a project website that anybody from the public can go visit at any time. Any future presentations, tonight's presentation will be put up at the website. All the plan submittals will be posted on that website for the public to view. There was a lot of information, so questions, comments?
I got a bunch of questions here. I'll ask a couple and let other people chime in, but I guess the obvious question when I was looking this over 6-8 weeks ago when I heard you folks were coming tonight was, didn't we do a rehabilitation of this bridge just a few years ago? And I said to Brent and Judy, wasn't it like 12, 15 years ago? And it turns out it was 9 years ago. So I guess one of the questions is, what happened? We did rehabilitate that bridge, and now it's 9 years later. Are we surprised that the bridge is doing as poorly as it is after such a short period of time?
I mean, it's not uncommon for paint systems to fail. It seems like there was a failure of the paint system in some places, and that's where we're seeing the deterioration. It did deteriorate, I would say, faster than we would expect after a rehabilitation like that. That's partially what brought us to recommend a full bridge replacement.
Was the rehabilitation done 9 years ago? Was that similar to alternative 1 on your sheet?
Correct.
So even though you're suggesting 40 years there, the last time we did this 9 years ago, we didn't get anywhere near 40 years out of it.
Correct.
Yeah. What's the question's going to be asked? And it's probably a guess on your part, but what is the current lifespan of that bridge if we do nothing?
Yeah, I think that's hard to determine. I think at this point, certainly the substructure is fine. But yeah, you could have major members start to deteriorate at an accelerated rate, but I think it's hard to place a timeline on that.
obviously we think,
They could continue just as is for another decade or more, you don't know, or tomorrow, something could be, find something else. Inspection.
so is it safe, I mean, you're saying construction date would be 2030, I believe it said in here, but, so it looks, or 2031, so sounds like we've got 5 or 6 years at least.
It's safe.
Yeah.
There's deficiencies in it, but it is safe. We go out and we inspect it. If there's any bridge findings found, the town will be notified. It might be if the project isn't ready to go or the funding isn't available, there might need to be some spot repairs, or maybe it gets closed and remains closed and that accelerates the project delivery.
And it's rated as 6 currently?
5.
A 5, so 4 would be a 4, so it still has some ways to go before it gets.
I'm asking the questions that I would expect the public to ask. I'm sure they have lots of other questions. The cost estimates in here, and we're talking 5, 6 years from now to do this, I assume those are today's dollars, those aren't 2030, 2031 dollars?
Those are today's dollars. What we've been seeing at this point is a 5% inflation rate per year.
Okay, yeah. And I know we just did the Walton Road Bridge not too long ago, and we did go to the taxpayers for, I believe it was $500,000 for that bridge. And we're not talking as much money here, but this is the kind of thing that we'd probably go to the taxpayers for. I guess we don't need to decide that tonight, I'm just kind of throwing that out there. That's enough, but, anybody else have questions?
I have one, gentlemen.
Go ahead.
The historical status, are we not required to maintain the historical status of that bridge? Does anybody know? Because once stuff's deemed historical, I thought you had to maintain it.
There is a process, and I don't know if Judith did join tonight, she'd be able to answer the question better, but there is a process, the permitting process that we go through. If there's a need of the town to have a wider structure, say, if that's a community need, then we can say rehabilitating that bridge does not meet the purpose and needs of the town, the purpose and needs of this project. At that point, historic might say, well, you can replace it, but you have to replace it with a truss to maintain that look, the look and feel of the area. If you really wanted a conventional bridge, we can try to get it through the permitting process. It would be more difficult.
I'm just, in the interest of time, I don't want us to go down an avenue when we can't go there.
Yep.
So if we have to do historical, then we know where we're headed. Does climate change, like the fact that we're so much hotter, has that made any difference in the paint, do we think? Do we know? Anybody?
I'm not sure about that.
I'm just curious, the drastic and the it's hot, it's cold, is so much more extreme. Just curious. And my last question is, given that there are been a lot more people moving into town, do we need to worry about a higher usage on this bridge? You're saying it's safe now, but like if the usage increases significantly, is that going to put pressure on us to do something sooner than later?
That's a hard one to answer. I don't know what the increase in traffic we're looking at is. Is it an additional 500 cars a day?
Yeah, we don't know either, but, there's a lot of people moving in, so just curious as to, and especially trucks and stuff are, so just curious. So the soonest we can get it done currently, you're saying, is 2031?
Currently, that's where we have it in the budget, but again, say there was a deficiency found during the bridge inspection and this became more critical, it's possible it could be shuffled around with another project.
Okay, and you said,
So what we're doing at this point, because we're in this situation with a lot of the bridges, is we are designing them, we're getting that paper set of plans as fast as we can, and putting them on the shelf, so if things do need to be moved around or prioritized differently, they're ready to go.
so if we decided to do it sooner so that we're not spending an additional 5%, there's the possibility we could go sooner. This windfall of money is going to come in.
If budget-wise, if, you know, if we got a bunch of money somehow, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So you'd be, potentially you'd be shovel ready within a couple of years, you said, from other permitting perspectives, right?
It's typically, yeah,
A couple
3-4 years.
So if there was money that became available, then you'd be ready to go before.
Yeah.
Sure, thanks. I want to follow up on Laura's comment about not wanting to delay this by going down the rabbit hole of alternative 3, the steel deck. But I am concerned about the fact that it's 9 years later, as Don says, and we're having painting peeling, which is causing the deterioration that's faster. I think I've heard other people in this audience talk about another truss bridge that we have that needs maintenance work, and if it's fallen behind, that again picks up the deterioration pace. My first question is, and this is a question of stupidity, who's responsible for the maintenance of the bridge? I'm assuming the town.
It's the town.
Okay.
Correct.
So my first reaction is, why are we building a bridge that's going to require more maintenance and cost $1 million more in total, not for the town, as opposed to building the alternative 3, which from the scoping report kind of says no need for upkeep with it. This seems like the easy, clean one to build that ignores historical, totally, that statement, totally ignores historical. But I guess I'd like to hear more about it.
So what I would recommend to the town, I don't know if the color matters, but a lot of what we do now will put in galvanized steel, and that lasts a lot longer. It does not need to be painted, so there isn't a paint system that can fail.
Mm-hmm.
If the town really feels strongly about that green color, then it would be more like a metallized steel with a paint system over it. But that would be our recommendation to lower maintenance needs, extend the life is that galvanized color.
Okay. I think you've already answered all my others, but let me look for just a minute. Nope, that did it. Thanks, the others already been answered.
Oh, sorry, I have one.
I was just going to follow up on one of your comments, but go ahead.
Well, and is the build time shorter on the galvanized steel than the truss? You're saying a construction season, which is basically 6 months, because we're not doing the trusses, is it less time? And you're not having to paint it?
The galvanized steel would be, the truss would be made out of galvanized steel.
All projects are the same time. Now,
Thank you.
the rehab and open top salvage bridges.
And the pieces would either come painted or come galvanized, so you wouldn't be doing that work.
I see.
Yeah.
But isn't there one that doesn't have the truss?
Yeah,
That's
number
the
3.
that's the conventional structure, which has lower maintenance costs.
Yeah, that's that's the one I was talking about. If we built that one, because we're not having the truss, how much timeline is there a difference?
Scoping report shows 6 months on both of them.
It does, yeah, I saw that, just curious.
It probably could get through a little bit quicker.
Not
But not
significantly.
significantly. There's gonna be a lot of time and work in the substructure. And that's the same whether it's a truss or a conventional bridge.
Okay, thank you.
Any expedited timeline's just gonna jack up the price from a
Yeah.
contractor standpoint.
I mean, the other comment to add to that, and again, these are current numbers, not 5-year out numbers. It's, alternative 3 is 50 grand less roughly to the town share, using the 5% that's in the scoping report, than alternative 2. Now, compared to the 5.6 million or the 4.6 million, that's not a big change, but it's $50,000 less that the taxpayers would have to come up with over that time, and that's not chump change in this town. I mean, you heard discussion of a rec director and whatnot. Budgets are tight here, and I'm not trying to go one way or the other, but it is a less expensive option with less work, less long-term work in the maintenance.
Correct.
But that's a permanent, and that's a historical thing. If we can't get the historical piece through, then we can't get.
Then we can't do it, right, I agree with you, yep.
I think we need to figure out if that's a viable option before we
Agreed.
Fully agree.
do that.
Yeah, I'm not looking to delay anything,
No,
that's for
right.
sure. I
Yeah, yeah.
don't want to get into a fight over,
Historical or not.
right, that's not what I want to do at all.
The problem is you don't know if it's gonna get through permitting or not until you start that permitting piece.
Oh, yeah, that's tricky.
Until you start the process, we don't know who's gonna be reviewing it.
It's the historical, you know. We can't get a decision on the historical before we start the permitting, correct?
Correct.
Ugh, that's hard to plan. All right. Thank you.
I mean, if the town really wanted to go down that path, I mean, we could start that permitting process and, you know, and see, and then it's fall back to a brand new trust if that's required.
We've got a subset here of the town, we'll see, maybe we can come and say here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to turn this over to comments in just a second from the public, but thank you. I think it's arguably, this is one of the most important bridges we have in Morristown. So making sure we do the right thing is clearly really, really important to all of us. It's also, we don't need to take any action tonight. This is really just an FYI, but it's a major FYI. It seems to have a lot of flashing lights associated with it.
But roughly, when would you need direction from this town about, for 31, to get ready to go?
I wouldn't wait a year to get.
Okay, that's again, that's, yep.
Couple months if you need it.
Okay, yep, that's what I needed to hear.
Yep, that is. Yeah, so it's coming. All right.
Yeah. You mentioned before that if something does happen to this bridge and compromises its structure, it could move it forward a little bit. Of course, if something happens to another bridge somewhere else in the state, we could get pushed back a little bit too.
It's possible.
Could go both ways. It's kind of stating the obvious, I know.
Don?
Yeah, go ahead, Brent.
I want to ask this question because I know administration will be getting it if it's not responded to now. How often do state engineers inspect the bridge when it's in this status?
So at this condition status with a fair rating, it's inspected every 2 years. Did I get that right? If it is downgraded to a 4 in any of the components and poor condition, then it gets to a yearly inspection rating status. If there's warrants for even more frequently, that's possible too. But.
And I can go online and check the last inspection date, but do you happen to have it so we can state it publicly right now?
Oh, geez. It was inspected in 2024. I'm not sure which month.
Okay, thank you very much. That'll be helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Laura and Corey. So I guess I would open it up to comments from the public. Thank you, Judy. And if you do have comments, we're going to need to pass that microphone back and forth.
I'm gonna sit there right here.
Yeah.
Because that will make it easy.
Because
Be able to hear these folks know.
we need to record the question as well as the response. So anybody, if you'd like to step up to the microphone, identify yourself and let us know what's on your mind.
Hi, Lisa Roberts. I'm a resident of Morrisville. I'm just wondering, on these timelines, like this is a 40-year design or 75-year design, when we did the rehab in 16, are the people doing that work offering any type of warranty for that work? Because it lasted 9 years?
Unfortunately, there is no warranty.
Laura, you might want to stand up and
No,
speak.
I think she'll be good.
You think she's going to be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think she's speaking loud enough. Just
Okay.
keep that volume up.
So unfortunately, after it leaves construction, there is no warranty. We have specifications in place during construction to make sure that the bridge is constructed per spec.
Well, who's coming up with these lifelines, the 40 years and the 75 years, if it's only gonna last 9? How can we be sure we're not gonna be looking at this again in another 10 years if it's not warranted or there's no guarantees on the timeline? That's just my question. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Lisa. Other questions from the Anybody in the room? Yeah, come on up. Once again, identify yourselves and ask your question.
Eric Sanders, and I live at 221 Stagecoach Road, about a quarter mile from the bridge. And my question is, what would have to be done in order to maintain that for bicycle and foot traffic? And we have a beautiful bypass that goes around the whole thing. And if we could eliminate the cars from the bicycles and the speeding that goes by my house, with all the traffic comes whipping through there, and they could whip down the bypass, it would make a lot more sense and a lot cheaper. Just a suggestion.
That's a great question, Eric. We know that there's a lot of car traffic there, but as you've noted before, there's a lot of bicycle traffic. I know I've taken my bike across there. It's scary.
And on up the road, you know.
Yeah.
Traffic coming across it.
Yeah. I have a feeling your question is going to be addressed for many decades to come. Yeah. Or asked, anyways. Any other comments? Yeah, go ahead.
Jerry Throne, Morrisville. A lot of you people know me. My background is that I've been in construction for approximately 50 years, building, rehabilitating bridges mostly. So this is my bailiwick, and I have a hard time believing that alternative one is going to cost $1.7 million for most of the work, which I guess is the structural work and probably the painting. You know, I looked at this bridge, and yes, this bridge has some paint problems. Yes, it has some cover plate problems and some gusset plate problems, but I don't think that it would take that much money to bring this up to a good or excellent condition. Yes, the cartway is narrow, and that's something that's inherent with this bridge. But for the town, you know, to be involved in spending a portion of this, you know, there's either $280,000, $233,000, or $82,000. I think the town's portion on alternative one could be much less. So I, as a resident, if I have anything to say about it, I'd like to see what's involved in the rehab costs that you've put together. And I'd like to evaluate that and have a chance to discuss that with the select board. Also, as far as traffic control is concerned, did you evaluate with alternative one whether it could be done under traffic?
So typically, when we get into rehabilitations, we end up replacing the floor system underneath. And replacing the floor system, I mean, the truss rehabilitation would involve removing it from its location so we can fix it up. So it would likely, no, we could not maintain traffic.
Okay, so you've determined that the floor beams have sufficient section loss that they need to be replaced, and it's not cost effective to repair them. Because if you can, if you can keep the deck and just repair the floor beams underneath, that's a win-win, because you don't have to remove a deck that's only 9 years old. Yeah, all right, it has some cracks in it. You could epoxy inject them if you wanted to. You could put a sealer over the deck to protect it. But, you know, if you can, and even some of the floor beams can be replaced without removing the deck. I've done that. So I'm suggesting that we take a look at the details of what's involved with this cost for alternative one. If the board feels that that's something that should be done. I'm offering my time to review it, and I'll let you know what my feeling is about it. Also, I know that on the roadway section off the bridge on the north side, that there's quite a dip there, and I've heard about people bottoming out. And I would hope that no matter what alternative is chosen, that you would include raising the grade there to avoid that from occurring.
Yep, we can use that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. So I would assume that getting the details on each of these estimates would be would be possible.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you, Laura.
One thing just to point out is in the rehab option, we would have to basically tent the truss, paint it. So that would possibly prohibit the ability to maintain traffic on that truss.
Yes and no.
It depends on due to the fairly narrow structure.
Yeah.
Part of the estimate does include painting as well, and which gets us into lead abatement issues. So typically, the cost for that lead abatement and contamination containment is a significant cost. I mean, that's just that item there is about $400,000. So that does include, removing the paint and painting, which is a chunk.
Other questions, one sec, what other questions from the audience? Anybody online? I just have one quick thought. So you said, and then I know Laura's got a question. You said you wouldn't wait a year to make a decision on this. What kind of turnaround time are you expecting from us? 6 months? 3 months?
If you need 3 months or 6 months, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Just to kind of put it a little bit on our radar as to when we need to get this done.
It does delay us starting plans.
Right.
So after tonight, we don't work on the project until we hear from the town.
Yeah, we are going into a busy season, as is true of all towns, with budgets coming up. But Laura?
Just curious, do you have records of what happened in 2016? I'm just curious, what you're talking about, Jerry, is to what extent, what work was done in 2016? Just give us kind of an idea of what failed and what did, the stuff that's going bad now, was that replaced or not replaced? So I don't know if you have it or we have it.
That'd be really nice to know.
We have record plans for it, I can send it to the town.
It just, yeah, I'd be curious to see.
And to know how much it costs.
Yeah, and how much it costs, yeah, why has it only been 9 years?
Yeah.
Does a rehab like happen in 2016? Do you have as-built of that?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great to know.
Yeah.
If the work that was done in 2016 is still good, but it's something else that's failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I have,
Go ahead.
this is a little bit off topic, but I'm wondering if the state or any other governmental entity has done studies on brine versus road salt. With the damage that I see, I'm wondering how that could occur so significantly, and my layman's assumption is probably road salt. Have there been any studies of brine application versus road salt for steel truss bridges or?
I'm unaware, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Okay, any last questions from the board? From the public? Come on up, Ed, introduce yourself.
Yes, that is Brent's, Ed Lowenton, Morristown. Brent's point brings up a new direction in this discussion about structures and their deterioration, which is, I've talked about this with a few people who run garages and things like that. Is it getting to be time to open a statewide discussion about the use of destructive materials on the roads? Is this time to bring this to the state level with a groundswell of public demand? I mean, the other side of that is something you're asking an awful lot of the public in regard to, which is you have to build an extra hour or two to make your 30-minute trip. But I remember in Pennsylvania, when I was young, that was, they didn't clear the roads. The Pennsylvania Turnpike would be left with a foot of snow, and you just learn to drive in it as best you can. You learn to use change. The whole environment the whole approach to travel with automobiles was different, and the cars rotted for other reasons.
Thanks, Ed.
But it's just a point that bears on every argument about maintenance.
Thank you, Ed. Okay, last chance. Okay, I'm going to thank you very much for coming in for this presentation, making us aware of our bridge and our need to make a decision here. Hopefully in the next 3 to 6 months, we'll have something for you. Great.
Thank you so much, this was
And we
great.
may get back in contact with you about more information that we need for that.
Yeah, and I will follow up with everything we discussed tonight.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Gemma. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna move forward to, we added, for those of you that came in late, we added an item to new business, which was the paving and culvert update.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll be putting out on social media. We've already put out the culvert update on some social media, but putting it on the website and social media, but just wanted to make you aware. And we'll be updating as needed. But the Morristown Highway Department will be replacing several culverts this week. There's a list of short-term road closure locations, days and alternate routes are listed. Cole Hill near Walton Road, Wednesday, September 17th. Alternate route Lyle McKee Road or Mud City Loop. Geltz Road near Children's Village, Wednesday, September 17th. Alternate route Stancliffe Road. Moran Loop Road, upper end near Bridge, Thursday, September 18th. Alternate route Sterling Valley Road. And then Sterling Valley by Pumpkin Hollow Road, Thursday, September 18th, the alternate route being Lyle McKee Road. And again, we've already posted this one on some social media. Is it up on our website yet, Judy?
Yeah.
It's on our website, and we will, we'll be continuing to post these out via social media and our website. So that's culverts. Morristown paving. SD Ireland is scheduled, the tentative schedule is beginning September 22nd. Completion is estimated by October 10th. Of course, weather will impact this schedule. That'll include reclaiming Walton Road and Cody Hill, Millbridge Street, Portland Street, Richmond Street, pave Bridge Street and Portland Street and Richmond Street, pave Walton Road and Cody Hill, and pave Stagecoach Road. And we will be posting updates to the website. And this is just, as well as on social media, but this is just a reminder that you can sign up for town alerts, which will include updates such as this. So wanted to put this out there tonight and make sure that people are actively looking for updates.
And do we anticipate, like Bridge Street and Portland Street, that they'll be able to keep one lane of traffic open? Have any idea? 'Cause those are such major streets.
We will have to have at least temporary close downs, but, let's say that they do reclaiming work.
It's gotta,
You can open it back up until, the paving is done.
Yeah.
So there might be a day or 2 days, depending on how this fleshes out, that, a road is, not paved, but able to be used.
those are
And we
just such
plan on, as soon as we're getting more specifics, especially around the business district,
Yeah,
Portland Street and Bridge Street, that we will be not only posting on social media, but we're already reaching out to businesses proactively, but as we get more details, we'll be sure to really not only through social media going to impact the businesses and letting them know.
I'm assuming this is day paving, not night paving.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Brent. Any other comments? Okay, moving on. Discussion and approval of the EMS billing rate increase. I was just looking for Corey's name up on the screen, but I see her in the room now. Thanks for coming. And Michael Roberge Roberge is also available on Zoom to answer some questions. So in our packet, we have some rate increases here, and it's my understanding that, well, you can kind of tell from this that we're below the state average in a lot of places. Corey, do you want to speak to this? Do you want to, or do you want to just, I don't know if the board has particular questions?
If I could just open it up? And then-
Yeah, by all means.
So, Charles from Stowe reached out to me. He had seen in the news recent discussions about EMS. And so he forwarded me a study that Stowe performed a few years ago, analyzing their billable rates. I took a look at it and then reached out to Corey and asked her to review not only Stowe's study, but to proactively review current rates.
Yeah.
So her and Michael came back to us with what you see proposed here. And I'll let Corey and Michael get into more details, but that's what precipitated this.
So we did do a comparison.
Thank you, Judy.
13 services in Vermont, municipality and private and not-for-profit. We're below the average. Even though our call volume is a little bit higher than some of the other call volume, we're still below our basic rates. And I don't believe that they've been adjusted for approximately 10 years. So what Michael has done, and I'll let him explain, we did a projection. Our rates are a little higher than the average, but we're doing a 3-year analysis.
Yeah.
Based on 3 years of data and the projection of inflation and the locked-in rates that other services use. Where we are, you can see that we have a substantial amount of increase in our revenue. If we go based on these rates, I don't foresee us having to change them within the 3 years unless something drastic happens. But Michael, if you want to explain to them how you came up with the 3-year data.
Michael, you're muted right now. You are good.
Was broken up. Can you repeat it? Sorry.
Speak into the microphone.
I get the mic a little closer to you,
Sorry.
We can hear you, by the way, Michael. now.
Michael, can you explain to them your data analysis on the 3 years?
Yeah, so I think Chief talked about how it's been quite a while since there's been an increase in the cost for services that we want to bill the insurance companies. So what we're anticipating is for the next 3 years, this would hold us essentially over with the increase of costs with, the cost of supplies and everything. We won't be coming back every year to increase our rates. So we anticipated what the next few years, how the trends have been with supplies and equipment to help cover that. That way we can forecast and continue to be competitive with the other services around that we work with. So if that answers the question a little bit. A lot of this, we got all the data points from 10 or 12 different services. And even though we might be a little bit higher than a couple of services around here, we're actually around the same amount with the rest of the state. We're just coming up to that level. So just trying to get more level playing field with the other agencies in the state to capture that revenue stream.
Additionally, a lot of providers charge for individual costs, oxygen and other individual services provided. And I think that Michael and the chief made a smart decision in having in their recommendations of having a little bit higher, but not having additional billables, because that only adds complexity to the billing process. So this is more streamlined, but when you consider for Stowe, for instance, they come in a little bit lower than us, but they also charge for individual services like oxygen, et cetera. So that's something else for the select board to consider.
And these numbers here don't reflect that. Your state average doesn't reflect those a la carte options, right?
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, so this actually encompass all of that. So if you look at the rates, so like ALS 1 will encompass, all the services of a paramedic or advanced EMT with it. When they start adding more medications or if they put an advanced airway device in, then we would move it into advanced life support number 2 category, where that would increase the rate. So that would incorporate, all those services into that level. So that helps keep us be both competitive and frugal with the taxpayer, so, and the insurance carrier. So again, this is still, I think we provided the averages from the state that we were able to get with our networks with the surrounding areas. We're still pretty competitive. It's not like we're trying to, be the highest. So
I think it's safe to say that, well, as one of the taxpayers in town, that the taxpayers would be very happy to know that we're bringing our rates up very close to the state average. And it's also worth noting that the amount that we're above the state average is nowhere near as much as the amount that we were below the state average. So, and it certainly makes sense to be a little bit above now, given that 3 years from now, we'll probably be below the state average again.
That was.
So thank you for bringing this to our attention. If there's other questions, yeah. George?
I don't care. I'm looking at the math down at the bottom, Corey and Mike, and I can see where you're doing it. But that doesn't take into account the write-offs for Medicare or Medicaid, correct?
Correct.
And what percentage of that billing is Medicare or Medicaid? Off the top of your head, I'm not looking for.
Write-offs are approximately 33% last year.
Yeah.
And so I checked with Stowe to just get a comparison with Stowe, thinking that theirs would be lower because of the demographics, and they're actually 40% write-offs.
So a third of our business is Medicare or Medicaid.
Well, that gets more complex because now, like, certain things we can bill through Blue Cross Blue Shield with is it Medicaid, Corey, or
yes.
With Medicaid? So it's become a little bit more complex over the last 9 months.
So is it fair to say, let me phrase it in a question, that 171,050 is a little high because it doesn't include any Medicare or Medicaid write-off, but it's still going to be a really much better number than what we're getting now.
Yeah, you take 35% off of that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you both. Michael, Corey, thank you for doing this. It's very helpful.
I've got a question. Just curious, just hearing the news currently, that there's a lot of changes anticipated in the Medicare insurance and everything. Have you guys calculated that in or thought about it? I mean, is it on your radar that in case there's significant changes coming? From what I hear,
the rate increases for Medicare and Medicaid, and Michael and I did talk about the difference. So from 2019 to 2024, BLS emergency changed $384 from 2019 to 2024. So what we did was these rates didn't reflect, our rates didn't reflect, we didn't go based on what they have changed from those times. We went on based on what Medicare and Medicaid pay for flat rates. So we can't increase it and get more than what they're going to actually pay.
Understood, yeah, okay.
So when we look at these numbers, it's not only call volume or write-offs, it's what are they going to pay? They're only going to pay a certain amount. We can charge them whatever we want,
Right.
but they're only going to pay a certain amount.
Yeah. Understood,
So
understood, yeah.
Tina and Mike actually are really solid with the numbers. And what we charge is fair to what we can get back from Medicare, Medicaid,
And
private.
is there any thought that they could come in and drastically like cut it in half or
And
what?
that's always a possibility.
And then we just have to regroup?
Yeah.
And,
ICMA actually had, that's the International City Managers Association. They had a webinar that I attended a couple months ago, and the whole nation is facing that possibility, but it really impacts rural.
Yeah.
EMS providers. So regardless of whether we make this increase,
Right.
it is something that we could possibly be facing as a state and as a nation.
Yeah.
But even with that said, this is roughly a third of the calls. There's 2/3 of the calls that are not gonna go through Medicare or Medicaid.
Correct.
And then we should be able to get
Okay, anyway, yeah.
the full rate.
The full rate.
Yeah, so it is an issue, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's
Could
not,
be,
but it's a third of an issue, not the whole issue.
Yeah, good point. And then one more question, just, are there, like with the ALS2 emergency, are there still, because you guys do so much now, I mean, they're rolling hospitals, are there still services above that if you have to do that, that would be charged separately, or are you eliminating all add-ons, kind of?
It's call by call. There's critical care transports, which we don't do. We do have ALS too, which consists of a certain amount of medications. There's criteria to meet those to be able to bill them at that rate.
Okay.
And if we reach that, if we match what they're asking for in the billable section, then we can charge for that higher rate. But it's so uncommon. I mean, they're nothing to be able to set any rates on. We would bill them at the average rate. If we don't have, Tina and I sat down and went through the rates, every component, every category. We have a rate for each one, but those calls specifically are so far in between that they're done based, call by call.
Yeah, so here's just a random knowing situations and knowing EMTs in Newark, New Jersey. If, in case you get someone who's had a drug overdose, you take 1 or 2 Narcans. You get an extreme situation where you've got to do 8 or 9. Is there a bill, do we bill above that, or is that still, are you just cost averaging really between all of them?
Averaging,
between all of them, you can't.
We can't be, we don't bill based on individual medication doses.
Okay.
Each medication given changes the level of care. So if you get to 3 per se, then we can charge an ALS2. But, generally, but it has to be 3 different medications. You get 15 Narcans, but we still can only bill at 1 rate.
Yeah, so you guys have thought of this is great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. By the way, just for the record, I mean, according to the data on here, the 1/3 is the Medicaid write-off, but the number of calls, it's 50.9% of our calls are Medicare and Medicaid. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the EMS billing rate increases as presented.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Richard and a second by Laura. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Michael, for all this work. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. Thank you, Brent, as well.
I'd like to recognize them, they work shifts. Michael, did Michael work a 24-hour shift today? No? Okay. But they were very responsive to me and my follow-up questions and edits and everything, so just really proud of you guys.
Why am I not surprised? Thank you, Corey.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, approved the small time drive private road name. So we have an application for a road name in here, and this is off of Elmore Mountain Road. It's my understanding this is a road that goes through Morristown. It also goes into Stowe. And by the way, they've asked for a sign to be put up, but the sign's going to be put up by Stowe. So that doesn't seem to be too much of an issue for us. So I think they're just looking for approval on the name of Small Time Drive.
I'll make a motion to approve the private road name Small Time Drive and authorize Don to sign.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Richard, second by Laura. Discussion? Am I correct in that their Stowe will put up the sign?
I actually didn't clarity on that.
That's a yes.
Kevin told
That's what
Dawn.
Kevin told us, right? Okay. Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. So approve a roadside diamond mower, and this was part of our 25-26 budget, I seem to remember.
Yes.
So I'll let you explain this a little bit, Brent.
So it was in the budget, and Jordan went out and received 3 bids. Just so you're aware, the current tractor and boom mower is made by Challenger, which no longer makes tractors. Repair parts are hard to find and many are not available. There's also significant rust on the current tractor. The boom mower is a rear mount, making it far less efficient to use and time consuming to change attachments. The new tractor has a side mount boom, allowing for more efficient mowing and the simultaneous use of our existing rear mount blower attachment. So we got 3 bids, one from Champlain Valley Equipment for $184,054 for a Kubota M6 111 with a Terrian Kingside mount boom mower with a 2-year warranty. That was the highest price. Pete's Equipment came in with a $166,507 offer for a Massey Ferguson with a diamond side mount boom mower and a 2-year warranty. And then Pete's Equipment came in with a third for $160,873, John Deere 6105E diamond side mount boom mower and a 2-year warranty. So Jordan is recommending the John Deere since it's the lowest cost equipment.
What do we budgeted at, Brent?
You know, I knew you were gonna ask that, I didn't have time, but it is within the budget.
That's answered the question.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't need the detail.
I meant to do that about 2 o'clock this
You are
afternoon.
gonna ask the question.
One of you.
Can you repeat the Kubota? What was there something different the Kubota offered? The first one? Champagne.
How do you mean something different?
I thought you said something about an attachment.
Oh, a Terrian Kingside mount boom mower, whereas the ones from Pete's Equipment are diamond side mount boom mower.
But Jordan is recommending the third option.
Yes.
Which is great because it's a local company.
And the motion you're looking for is to authorize yourself to secure the financing.
Yes, Sarah's out of town. She put in the bid process as per statute, and I'm going to go with the best, cheapest financing option. Most likely best without having to put like a minimum $2,500 deposit in a bank that we don't use.
Okay, I would entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve Brent Raymond, town manager, to secure and enter into the most favorable financing terms available for the purchase of roadside diamond mower tractor, John Deere from Pete's Equipment, as previously approved in the town budget.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
So motion by Richard, second by Laura. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Okay, also, moving along, so approve a police car purchase, very similar. This was part of the 25-26 budget as well.
Yes. So Chief Luno obtained a quote from McMulkin Chevrolet Cadillac in Nashua, New Hampshire. The vehicle comes in just under $56,000. There is then the build-out costs of just over $21,000, and then a new Motorola radio of $9,100. Current radio is about 20 years old, so it's not something we want to, just transfer over. He did just over the weekend receive another quote for about $1,600 less for the same vehicle from a dealership here in Vermont. So what we're doing is we're exploring that, but whether it's a $1,600 delta between the two, they still need to move forward with a vehicle. So we're negotiating that. So if you just go ahead and approve it, I can report back to you, what is selected, but.
What is the vehicle, Brent?
It's a Chevy Tahoe.
Okay.
PPV body type.
Okay. I'll make a motion to authorize Brent Raymond, town manager, to secure and enter into the most favorable financing terms available for the purchase of a police car as previously approved in the town budget.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
So I have a motion by Richard and a second by Laura.
Can I ask a question at this time?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. What if the police cruiser come with a warranty on it? I mean, it's not your typical vehicle, obviously, and it's not gonna get used like your typical vehicle.
No, and we're experiencing issues with another, a Dodge, right now, or recently, if it's been fixed, and it's like a it's an issue that's recurring, or was recurring, and the warranty was nullified because when you buy these cruisers, you have to have a secondary entity put in all of the police lights, all of that stuff. So it can null and void portions of a warranty. So I'm looking, I had it earlier today. Of course, it's not right here in front of me.
That does seem kind of crazy though, George. You sell a police package vehicle with a.
Well, I think the police,
And every police department in the country is doing the same thing, right?
but the police package comes from somebody else, so they're just selling the.
No, this vehicle is a Tahoe with police package. It's a special,
It's built for police.
Ford makes vehicles.
Okay, that's-
Police vehicles, and then you retrofit them after.
I wasn't
as
sure
what you
if,
want.
if it was a different, I thought it was a different company, so. Yeah,
I don't have it.
A different company comes and
I don't
does the
have it in front of
retrofit, like,
But they're selling it, as they're selling the retrofit.
I mean, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, because no matter who we deal with, it's gonna be the same situation.
Yeah, they're both Chevys.
It's more curiosity than anything
Yeah,
else.
I can get that for you, but it's one of the things that was on my to-do list today, and, sorry.
Is this one in budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the total price we're talking about is just about $86,000, just adding up the numbers that you had.
Yeah, we might be able to get it down to around 85.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we have a motion. Do you have any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous as well. Okay, thank you, Brent. Halloween road closures. So we have in our packets a map of the road closures. It's my understanding that this is exactly the same as we've had for many years. And we just need to approve this and kind of authorize the police department to follow through. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the closing of the following streets in the village for trick or treating on Friday, October 31st, 2024, from 5 PM to 7:30 PM. Maple Street, Cherry Ave, Harrison Ave, the eastern side of Union Street, Summer Street, and Court Street.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
So motion by Richard, second by Laura. I assume the chief, Jason, is fine with this?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was a yes for those of you that might not have heard that or seen the head nod. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, then all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. Okay, discuss the interview process for the vacant select board seat. So we have, as I think we all know, everyone in the room, certainly the four of us up here, or the five of us, including Brent, six of us, including Judy, are well aware that we have a vacant select board seat. At the last meeting, we began to discuss this. I know at the last meeting, we decided to put applications out for anybody that was interested in filling the seat, and we have a few more days for those applications to come in. I believe they're due on Friday of this week. But what we agreed at the last meeting that we would do is discuss the process for filling that select board seat. And I think, clearly we can have interviews in public. We can have interviews in executive session. I would imagine, I don't know for certain, but I imagine we would deliberate in executive session to make a decision. But at this point, we are well along the path of receiving applications for the vacant select board seat. And I guess I would suggest that tonight might be a good night to decide whether or not we're going to do this in public or if we're going to do this in executive session. And also, I think it would be wise and prudent of us to set a date. I know we talked about September 30th, October 1st last time as potential dates for this. So I'll just throw that out there and let others discuss this.
Well, I will say that News and Citizen has already announced that we're doing it in public. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So, just saying, I'm not sure where they pulled it from, but
I think it's still our decision, so.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know, it's been announced. I am in favor of having interviews in public. These are would be publicly elected officials. So I think, since we are bypassing any kind of process where people answering questions, I think it's fair. And personally, having gone through two, full transparency, I think, is the best. It's a little hateful, but if you're in an election, it's the same thing. So I just think for people, all of our voters to be part of it, and we don't have to announce it. They've already announced it.
Other discussion?
With deliberation in executive.
I can see some of the points to that, having them in public, but I also can see there's some benefits to having them in executive session. Some of the benefits that I can see to having them in executive session is you may be able to ask more pointed questions and get a more honest answer from those people, knowing that the information that they're sharing with the board would stay with the board in executive session. Whereas if it's in public, you could potentially ask some questions and not really get into the meat and potatoes of the question that you're asking. So I can see benefits to both ways. We've done it in the past in executive session. And I know that, or I feel like some of the answers that would have been given differently if I'm sharing everything in front of Jerry. Not picking on Jerry, but that's.
Oh, yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
George, thoughts?
Yeah, I don't have a strong leaning one way or the other. The one thing I would say is if we're doing public, I would want us to consider whether we are the only limiting questions only coming from the board and not coming from the public that is either here or on Zoom. I'm not supportive of that. I think we're doing this in the public, not for the public. And it would be our determination of what questions and follow-ups and whatnot. If we were to do it in public, after we were doing an executive, then this whole conversation is moot. But I hear both Laura and Richard's points, and they're both well taken.
I have one more comment, Winger.
Okay, yeah.
Well, having been on both sides of it, it's really hard coming out of an appointment and everybody wants to know why you made your decision, and we legally can't talk about what we discussed in an executive session. So I would rather it be out front, and everything, for the most part, is gonna be in front. And, in theory, I see what you're saying, Richard, but the truth is we shouldn't be asking anything that we wouldn't ask in the public.
I'm not saying that we'd ask anything different than what we do in the public, but the other piece to that is we're gonna have a set list of questions, and if we have 7 candidates that applied, candidate number 1 is gonna be at a loss, candidate number 7 is gonna be at an advantage, because they're gonna know all the questions and have time to think about them.
Separate them.
I think we can, we can
But,
take care of it.
I mean, just saying that
Yeah.
there's a potential for that to occur.
Yeah, I would, on 2 just procedural things. Number 1, we would interview them one at a time, ask other applicants to leave the room. that's only fair. I don't think one applicant should get to hear the answers of another applicant. That doesn't make much sense. And I agree, George, this is an opportunity for the board to ask questions, and only the board. We're going to make this decision if we do choose to do it in the public. I will say, when this first came up a couple of weeks ago, I was feeling pretty strongly about executive session and doing this in executive session, mostly probably because that's what we did last time. When we did have a vacancy, and Laura and I were both there at the time, and we needed to fill a seat. And that was after Bob Beeman left, I believe.
Travis.
No, it was after Bob Beeman left, because you and Travis and myself.
Oh, that's true.
and Judy
Yes, thank
Bickford
you.
were there.
There was so much turnover, you're right, yes.
But that was done upstairs in executive session, and probably that just filled my mind a lot about doing the same thing again. Although I do hear the argument about doing it in public. There is an opportunity for the public to not only hear the responses, but there's also an opportunity for the public to hear our questions. I think that's just as important as well. What are we going to ask these individuals? I've got some thoughts for myself, but I think that's important for the public to hear that. So I'm kind of sitting on the fence.
However, let me be clear of what we're discussing. We're talking about either public or executive session for the interview.
Yes.
The deliberation by the 4 members of the board is going to occur in executive after that.
I would strongly recommend that, yes.
I think it has to be, that's where it gets into, I'm just checking legally, I think that's an HR.
We checked with VLCT because there's a question, well, select board members, employees, and VLCT recommends that we be open and transparent about, if there's questions about who's even applied right now. And they didn't, I think it is wise for you all to be able to deliberate in executive session before you make a decision, but I don't know that there's any requirement.
Okay. I just, again, one of the reasons I ran was that, there was such a notion of what the select board was, and that so much was being done, and that it was the old boys club. And I think if we're gonna go forward, we need to be as transparent and have the community as involved as possible. And, I'm uncomfortable when people call and say, why did you pick this person over? Because again, legally, we can't talk about executive session. And I think it's important for them to hear, because ideally, whoever doesn't get it is gonna run again. So,
But that question still could come up, Laura. We do the interview, let's say we do the interview,
that's
but
true.
we're not making that decision right now, but let's say we do the interview, but we're still gonna go and deliberate amongst the candidates that we've interviewed in executive session and come out with a recommendation, a name.
Yes, that's true.
So there's still gonna be the possibility, the likelihood of, why did you pick A over B? Or A over B and C? I think we can't get totally away from some executive session and someone therefore saying, I don't understand why you did that. And us saying, because we deliberated and this is in executive session and this is what we decided.
Yeah.
I don't think we can make this totally transparent.
Whether it's done in executive session or whether it's done in public, the way I see this happening is each one of us would have 1 or 2 questions to ask. The candidate's gonna sit there and answer the questions. And then we're gonna digest those answers in deliberative session. We're not gonna digest that in public. We're not gonna digest that while the candidate's.
But I think the questions that we're asking will also help the public understand what we're looking at. I think that's very clear to me is what you're,
And even with executive session, and we'll forward you how VLCT responded, but even in executive session, you all can come to an agreement about what you want to disclose publicly. So you can come up with a statement of,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we'll forward you what VLCT, how they responded, and they highly recommend as much transparency as possible.
You look at the
Around a
federal
select board
hearings, what's going on at the federal level where everything's you know, it gets a little chaotic, I'm not, but, you know, it's in, I mean, I tune into them because it tells me, it tells me a lot about, first about the candidate, about the people asking the questions, in addition to who's running, which to me is important too, you know.
So I would say, I would entertain a motion in regards to the process. I don't think we need a motion in regards to the date. I think, and those are the two things we need to decide tonight. The process, whether it's public or private, the interview portion, and the date. That's all we really need to worry about tonight.
All right, I will make a motion that we hold the interview process in open meeting with the recessing to executive session for discussion and then we come out for vote
Deliberation.
anyway, yeah.
So you want to say that one more time, please?
I make a motion that we do the interview process for the vacant seat, select board seat in an open meeting and recess to executive session for just further discussion. I don't know what the legal.
For deliberation.
Deliberation, thank you. And then we have to come out to vote anyway.
Yeah, we'll have to come back out to vote. So the motion then is to do the interviewing in open meeting, but then to enter executive session for the purpose of deliberation.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. Okay, so I have a motion by Laura. Did you get all that? Yeah. Judy? Yeah. And a second by Richard. Okay. Further discussion?
I would just like to say again, I just wanted to bring up that point about the, I mean, someone's gonna give us, sorry.
No, you go ahead, I'm trying to.
Well, someone's gonna give us the information they're gonna give us. That was my thing is the fact that, are they gonna say something differently to us knowing that it's in confidence? That's the only thing.
I
Because there's
hear
certain
you.
questions that you're gonna ask a candidate in public that may be really personal. I know some of the questions I was asked when I was on that side of the fence were personal in nature, and I would not probably answer them the same way I would have if it would have been right here.
Well,
I wouldn't have lied, but I would have probably excluded some things from.
Again, this is something I've been pushing, is a professionalism, and that if you won't say it in public, you probably shouldn't be saying it. And I just want to kind of rein us all into that we need to be very businesslike and diplomatic in the process, and this just keeps us honest. That's all. I see what you're saying, but.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I want you to know that. That's my perspective, is that there's other stuff that could be.
And again, having been in communications, you learn very quickly how to say things diplomatically and correctly, and that's what we do, so.
Okay, so we have a motion. Any further discussion? Ready to vote? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, by all means, yeah.
Evelyn Throne. I understand what you're saying, Richard, and I also think that Laura has a really good point. This whole time that you're out here in public, you're going to have to try to figure out how to say things that you really mean, that are the truth, but you have to figure out how to say them. And I think that that's a skill that is a good thing for a select board person to have. I totally agree with the idea that the public are people to watch this, not to participate in it. And I think they participate by listening. And the executive session thing, that's very understandable. I think that you're all kind of in agreement to that. I do like the idea that Brent was saying that, please tell us why you think this person was good, and, and why you chose them. And I hope that you're all like so enthusiastic that you can't wait to tell us why you chose them. So that's my point.
Thank you, Evelyn. Okay, we have a motion. I think the board's had plenty of time to discuss. So all those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. I just couldn't tell.
I just wanted
You
to.
both did it simultaneously.
I wasn't sure.
Okay,
And
good.
I just want to bring up, and I talked with VCLT, we've not discussed the, not
I'm
the vice
anticipating-
chair.
yeah.
And so we need, just for transparency, I've been told something, I'm hearing rumors, so I just think and according to VCLT, it should be discussed, and we can make all kinds of decisions. We don't have to do it now, but that legally, we should make a decision and have it clear.
Yeah.
So,
I wasn't trying to stop you there. I just wanted to, I will definitely come back to that
Okay.
statement in just a sec. We need a date for these interviews. So I'm going to suggest, I'm going to suggest September 30th. We have a public hearing that night, so I'm just throwing it out there because it was a date that we talked about. We can do October 1st, but on the 30th, yes, we do have a public hearing, which is a special select board meeting. This is in regards to downtown designation to submit the plan. This is a chance for the public to weigh in on the plan. Mr. Raymond, is that correct?
That is correct. So
It's also a chance for the board to weigh in as well, but.
yeah, so we're going through a statutory process for capital plan, and on the 30th will be the opportunity, we hope, for a motion so that we can get our application in on time. It's certainly, there's feedback throughout this whole statutory process that can be, the select board can receive emails from the public, they can email me, but this is a capital plan. It's not locked in. It's, it can be changed. And this specific one is just for the downtown designation area. And I also want to add that I will not be here that night, but I will have staff here that can answer any of your questions. And I hope that if you have any serious concerns, that you'll reach out to me beforehand, but.
and just for clarification's sake, would we anticipate doing it before or after I'm just thinking about the public.
I guess my thought would be to do the public hearing at 5:30.
It's already been noticed, so you can't.
So that answers the question. So we have to do it after.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we all know, the public hearing could be 15 minutes long and it could be 2 hours long. But I guess I would say that's part of the process of applying for this board. It can be time consuming. So I would ask the applicants to have patience with us, unless you feel like the next night, unless you want to have 2 meetings.
Just get it done.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say unless we have the inability to interview all of the candidates on that night after the capital improvement plan, that we should let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so let's have the interviews on the 30th.
That brings up a point, just a question. So if we did on the 30th, could we do a continuance, because it's not really, or would it have to be a warned public meeting to do interviews? Or would that be just a continuance if we had?
You can have a special meeting.
Could we do it the next night? Like, you know what I mean? Like if we had 7 applicants or whatever. And we were only, and it was 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, and we were like, we had to get out of here.
How about if we did this? How about if we said we will have interviews on the 30th and a maximum of X number of interviews on the 30th, and on the 1st, we will have Y number of interviews if necessary.
Just to cover.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
would say,
that's a good idea.
I would say on the
case.
30th, a maximum of 4?
Yes, because of 20 minutes apiece, because we don't, in fairness, we don't want people coming in at 10
And we can
o'clock.
interview people in the order that their applications come in as well.
However,
Yeah.
I would say that's a good way to do that.
That is a good way to do it.
So on the 30th, we'll have a maximum of 4 interviews, and then on October 1st, we will have,
If needed, yeah.
if needed.
Yeah.
Does that sound reasonable in terms of warning it and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, boy, there was something I was gonna
You
ask.
don't need a motion to set that, do you?
I don't think I need a motion for dates.
Okay.
But there was something I was just gonna say. In terms of the vice chair, so you're right, we don't have a vice chair right now, and our bylaws state that we need to every year elect a vice chair. Personally, I think we do need a vice chair. I think it's only reasonable that we do it.
Given,
And my recommendation would be that once we appoint that fifth person to then as a board of five, I mean, this is a decision of this
Yeah.
board, and we're not gonna make the decision tonight because it's not warned, and I'm treading down unwarned areas,
Yeah.
but you brought it up, so I just wanted to
I
respond
think
to
the
it.
ELC said that we could, that it was okay because it's all within elections.
So we
but-
could, at the next,
But we're not under pressure to announce it
at the
tonight.
next board meeting on the 6th, we can make that decision, but that's just
Okay.
Dawn talking. You
Yeah.
brought it up.
No,
wanted to respond.
well, and I just want, because I know
So
I'm hearing rumors that it's already been decided, which is, you know.
the four of us are gonna make the decision.
I know that, but if you don't put something out there, that's when rumors get started, so.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll certainly make an agenda item.
So, yeah, I'm
we won't
happy,
decide.
again, I'm happy that after the 5th I think is fine. We can make it formal, but, just so we have something that it's we're discussing it, and it's gonna happen, and we'll make an official announcement.
Okay.
Or vote on it on the 6th.
So I'm gonna end this conversation again because it's not warned, but it was brought up, felt the need to respond. Old business? None.
Yeah, we can't.
Warrants, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the warrants.
I have a motion to approve the warrants, so I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion by Richard and a second by George. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
That would be unanimous. In terms of the schedule, this is usually a meeting schedule. I just wrote down that applications for the vacant board position, again, are due this Friday. That's not a meeting. Not on the agenda is September 22nd. We do have a select board meeting to continue the LeBlanc hearing. September 30th, we have a special select board meeting. We've already talked about that. It's a public hearing for the downtown designation plan. In addition to that, as is on the agenda, Monday, October 6th, that we just were alluding to, would be our next regular select board meeting. The following night, October 7th, we're going to have a special select board meeting. Jeff Carr will be here, Vermont State economist. Most of us, probably all of us know Jeff Carr's name. He's on TV. He's an economist for the governor. He's down at the State House on a regular basis giving presentations. So he'll be here at 5:30 on Tuesday, October 7th. And then Monday, October 20th would be our regular select board meeting after that. Other business?
Can I make a comment on the schedule real quick?
Yes, by all means.
So for the schedule for October, what did you just set for a date, September 30th for interviews?
Yes.
So the way I'll warn that will be immediately following the public hearing. That's
Correct.
how it will be warned.
Good.
Okay.
So the time of the public hearing for the select board is 5:30. Immediately finishing that will be the interviews.
Okay.
Just so the public understands, it's not
Yeah.
it's not an agenda item with it's gonna be 5:30 and 5:31. It's gonna be right after the public hearing.
So we would close the public hearing and then open a new meeting?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other business?
None.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion by Richard, second?
Second.
Second by George. I think he beat you slightly. Okay, discussion? All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
It is 7:29. Thank you, folks.